everybody, and welcome to Season 31 of Spine Chill, the #1 asymmetrical horror and Dead by Daylight podcast, featuring me, John Wolfe, one of your co-hosts, as well as Gary the Hot Cross.
Hello.
Who's very excited to be here, as you can tell. And we've also got our 32-time recurring guest, Doug Running Man. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, thank you for having me. I appreciate the invite. Yeah, that's all. I hope that my air conditioner is not making too much noise in the background. Hopefully
no one
I've just stopped thinking about my fan and worrying about that, Doug. And you just made me think about it again. I'm so sorry you can hear my fan.
I just wanted to apologize, and if anyone else wants to apologize, they're more than welcome to.
I'm sorry if you can hear my fan. It's really warm in the UK right now.
Yeah,
I can turn it off.
No.
Don't suffer on our
Please
account.
No.
No.
I'm gonna turn mine up, Gary.
I'll tell you what, we're gonna stand in solidarity with you so hard. I'm not even gonna edit it out.
Yeah,
just gonna be a roaring AC, roaring fan. Yeah,
if it's too quiet, put another audio. Find something online.
I'll double it.
Yeah, there's got to be an ASMR fan out there somewhere, right? ASMR. Yeah, people do that.
This will be the AC edition.
It'll make me feel better, so just do that. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Perfect. We're off to a great start.
Yeah.
Dear Spine Chill audience.
Intro.
Thank you. Spine Chill audience, we have a very important announcement, a very important task to give you. We need you to pay very close attention, okay? Right now, I'm looking at our Spotify ratings, and they're not bad, but we could do better. Right now, we have 206 Spotify ratings, and we need to get to 500. If you can do that, we have a fantastic reward for you.
Oh,
we will allow Doug to apply for co-host. So
really?
if you want,
for
everyone out there that's been clamoring for Doug to be co-host, you have the power. Simply give us a 5-star rating on Spotify. We need to see that number climb all the way to 500. And once it does, applications will be open.
Okay, so I will say that I see you in the comments, and I appreciate all of you who are polling for me. I see you in the Twitch chats. I see you in the Discord. There's enough of you out there. Even if everybody out there has done a review, y'all have friends, family, and grandparents. And
good point.
Yeah, you all can get on. You can get on Fiverr and hire people to do review. You have resources. Okay, I would love rolling into the summer, rolling into the holiday season.
Oh,
to be able to apply for co-host, it would mean a lot to me. So
that's a good point about summer. Think about all your nieces and nephews that are off school right now. They don't got anything to do.
That's true.
They got phones. They could rate up the podcast.
Well, maybe have them listen. I mean, maybe we'll make a new fan.
They can learn something about asymmetrical horror.
Real. Yeah.
Next time you see them play Minecraft, just be like, why don't you stop playing this baby shit game and play some real asymmetrical horror?
If we'd gotten everybody's nieces and nephews to play VHS, maybe they'd still be around.
That's true. I mean, if you think about
it. Roblox is better. That's true. Yeah. Roblox is better.
If you're going to play a free game, you're going to play Fortnite.
True.
I have to get an application form set up for you, Doug. Just in case.
Yeah, if it happens, that would be great. Maybe we could even do the application, you guys could review it on the podcast, maybe.
I love that idea. Oh,
we will do that.
Doug, that's a good idea.
That's a co-host idea, I feel
like.
I don't want to get too ahead of myself.
A potential co-host
co-host idea. You got more of that on the application. Yeah. I mean, it might just be a shoo-in.
It's one of those great questions. You start thinking about it now, Doug. What would you like to bring to the table? What new ideas have you got?
We need innovation here at Spine Chill.
Yeah.
We need to stay #1.
Speaking of innovation, Dead by Daylight's had a new chapter. Should we talk about that?
Do we have to?
Yes.
I think we honestly, because we're the #1 Dead by Daylight and asymmetrical horror podcast, I kind of feel like we have to talk about it.
Yeah,
right?
true. Yeah, it would be embarrassing.
I want to.
Yeah. It's not that we have to. We want to.
You have to.
Well, we got to give the people what Gary wants.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we've got a new chapter, End Transmission. We've all had a go at playing it, right?
Yeah, I played a lot.
Do you want to go through the perks at all, or should we just go general vibe of it so far? I think that'd be a good place to start.
Maybe
like,
general
how you feel.
vibe, yeah.
Yeah?
The general
Yeah.
impression, then we can go into specifics.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. Who wants to go first?
So I've probably played the least of it out of the three of us. I haven't played the Singularity, but I have played against the Singularity. I played on the new map, enough to get a general feel for things. And my impression so far is a resounding meh. I'm not thrilled with it, but it also could have been the Knight or the Skull Merchant chapters. So it's a bit of a step up from that. But like, I was telling chat this because everybody was just like, well, it's better than the last two. And I was just like, yeah, but that's like eating a Subway sandwich and being like, well, it's better than the last two shit sandwiches that I had. And it's like, yeah, it's not a shit sandwich, but Subway,
Yeah.
still kind of
I will
mid,
agree. If anyone's like, it's not as bad as the Knight, it's like, that's not a compliment.
No.
The Knight, well, like worst chapter in DVD history? I don't know. Maybe Skull Merchant, but yeah.
Yeah, I think I would say I've probably played the most out of all of us so far.
Maybe.
I don't know, Gary,
Sure.
you might have played a little more. I was live a lot this last week, but
I don't know how much Killer you played. I might have played more of the Singularity itself. But I think you probably fought against it more than I have.
Yeah, you've played more Singularity because I've only played it one evening. I played while there was 100% bonus, so I haven't played the Singularity a lot. But I would say I almost like completely echo what John said. Like, I wanted to love this chapter. I wanted to be excited about this chapter. As a full-time content creator who plays the game a lot, I really wanted something that I thought would make the game feel fresh and feel good and feel fun for 3 months while I wait for the next chapter. And it was just a resounding meh for me as well. It's like, it's not a bad chapter, but I like exactly what you said, John. It's like, I feel like there's been like an overwhelming positive response, and I don't know how you could not be overwhelmingly positive when you're following up on the Knight and the Skull Merchant chapters, two of the worst chapters the game has seen. Like this,
Right.
Those were like make people leave the game bad. They were like that. The Skull Merchant remains, for me, the killer that I like going against the least of the entire.
I still refuse to play against her. If I see a Skull Merchant, I just give up. I don't want to play against her.
I'm
Right.
with you. I'm okay. I don't normally DC, but sometimes fevers make you do crazy things, and I definitely didn't play against some Skull Merchants this weekend. But so it's like, and again, it's not a bad chapter. It's what we should expect from behavior every time they release a chapter. It's got an interesting killer who I'm surprised has stayed in the rotation as long as it has. I think Wesker being disabled has a lot to do with that. But there's a lot of people playing Singularity right now, and it's remained that way through the week. It wasn't kind of a one and done thing where we got a lot of Singularity players and they moved on. Like, it's been pretty steady. Singularities. I think that the killer is interesting, has a high skill cap, is effective, played well, is not super boring to face. It's not a DC go next kind of killer. There's solid counterplay, which obviously is a lot more challenging when you're a solo queue player like the three of us, but it's manageable. I've had solo teammates play very well with the EMPs. The survivor is neat. The map looks cool. It's got really cool. I like the whole vibe of the map, like the sound, the ambiance, like it's like you feel like you're in a living jungle. The living jungle feels kind of cool, and to me that was something that I liked a lot more than the recent reworks on the what was it, the maps that just got re-released, the Predator maps.
Oh, the Sheltered Woods.
The Red Forest maps.
Oh, Red Forest. Sorry, okay.
Yeah, what I mean. Yeah, so I like the new map. I was worried about the new map when I played the PTB, and I am no longer worried about the new map now. I don't think it's going to be. I don't know. I would love to hear your guys' takes on the map too, because I think it might be one of the better maps we've gotten since Dead Dog. Overall,
Okay.
it doesn't seem oppressively large. Doesn't seem impressively small and indoors. It doesn't feel like the main building is overpowered, but also doesn't think the main building is useless. Like it kind of feels.
I definitely want to circle back onto the map because there's a lot of discussion to have about that. I'll give my general vibe of how I feel about the chapter because I think I might weirdly be the most positive here. Because I really like the new killer. Like they're just. I'm one of the people that used to play Resident Evil Resistance, and there's something about jumping between cameras and keeping track of stuff that makes my brain really happy. So I really like the new killer playing it, but I completely understand the meh sentiment. So one of the things when I played the PTB that I was very worried about was the high skill ceiling was going to put off casual players, and I think to be good at this killer, there's a bug in it at the moment. By the way, if you are trying to adapt the Singularity. Don't finish the match inside a pod. Finish the match as the Singularity, because I adapted 6 times in a row and didn't get it because I kept finishing staring at myself from the camera. Don't do that. But I've gotten quite good at it, and it's a very rewarding killer when you play it really well. But every one of those matches, even though that I think I was playing really efficiently and well, was a lot of work. It's not a casual killer to enjoy, and I think that's gonna. I mean. Doug, you were saying they've still got a healthy player base at the moment, but I think we'll see that drop week by week. And I'd be surprised if we see them in a little while, because when Wesker's not around at the moment, but Wesker is a thing. Huntress, Blight, Wraith. I mean, I think a lot of the Wesker players have moved over to Wraith for the time being. But there's a lot of much simpler killers to digest that are a lot more rewarding to play on a more standard kind of platform. The problem with the Singularity is, although it can feel quite good to play, it can feel fucking horrible, like really abysmal. Like you can just get absolutely wrecked. When survivors use the EMPs even mildly effectively, you can get completely shut down, and a lot of the time you end up feeling a bit like an M1 killer, where you get to use your power a little bit in loops. Like I think he's quite good, but it takes every match that I've played as that. I don't pay attention to chat. I have to focus. If I take my eyes off the ball, the match tends to crumble to pieces. So I quite like the killer, though. I think the survivor's fine. We'll talk about the perks in a bit more detail. The map, though, I think that's a really interesting thing to talk about. Because I think the map's deceptively large, but I can't really get a good grasp of its size.
Yeah, I guess I maybe kind of agree with you on that. Like, it does feel... almost feels like you can't tell if it's a big map or not, right? Like it doesn't feel oppressively big, but it doesn't also feel small. Like I feel like it's kind of just right. I would love to see the stats on how big it is relative to other maps.
Well, I thought it was kind of small, and then the end game happened, and I saw how far apart the doors were, and I was like, "My God! If I go to one of these doors, the other one gets opened. Like, there's no way I can check both doors in any kind of quick rotation at all. Like, they were so far apart, and it kind of hit me how big the map is." John, what's your experience with the new map so far?
Right, so I've only played on the new map once, and it was against Trapper. There was one that we duoed up for it.
Oh yeah, of course.
Gary. Yeah. And so that was not the best way to experience the map. So
did you not get it again the rest of the night?
No, I didn't. Oh. That's too bad. But it kind of confirmed a lot of my suspicions just from that one pass through. Is like I liked the environments and the aesthetics of it, and there were some cool unique parts of it, but there's an extreme lack of basic things that you need to have a good DBD map, in my opinion. I feel like the signposting was really horrible. I was just running around the map being like, where's the loop? I have no idea. Because normally when you run around, even a ship map like Garden of Joy, you look to your right and you're like, there's a tile right there, and you know where to go to or how to navigate. But running around this map, I was just like, there's trees everywhere, there's a bunch of junk. There's just no identifiable traditional tiles that you could find on other maps. So that was my major takeaway was, there were some interesting, cool visuals and sounds and ideas there, but it just seems like playing the game on the map is not very fun, or at least it's an extremely non-traditional experience is probably the most optimistic way I could put it.
I think a lot of the loops and stuff blur into the rest of the environment. It's really hard to distinguish what is what. It's a shame because there is some really cool things. I really like the tunnel that goes under the downed spaceship. That's cool.
Right.
There's some really interesting. I like some of the new tiles that are on it. I went against a nurse. She DC'd. Some of the tiles are really cruel to nurses. Oh, it's beautiful.
Mm.
Want to see
I
those
can
on
see.
some
I
of the
can.
maps,
I was gonna say I could see some more of those for future maps. Let's get some nurse punishing
true.
tiles. That sounds like a really good.
I like the tiles,
healthy thing for the game.
but finding them is a nightmare.
Yeah, I think windows of opportunity helps a lot in that because I didn't have that issue. I didn't have that issue, but like I'm able to scout the map and like see windows and pallets. So I'm just like, okay, this is where I'm gonna. Like I never ran into a dead zone problem running windows.
Okay.
So again,
Hey,
I played on that map
fair.
a lot because I played a lot of Survivor. I got Gabriel already up to like I think Prestige 7 or Prestige 8 this week.
Jesus.
So yeah, I put in some time, man.
I felt
on Survivor.
all smug because I think I got the Singularity to P3 now, and I've got Gabriel to like P2. I was like, hey, I've done well.
Yeah.
Apparently not.
You did great. No, it's not. Don't you don't? No, you did a good job.
I will say I do like the little ramps.
Mhm.
They're weird.
Those are
little
interesting.
ramps are weird.
It's fun.
The ramps make me hope for some kind of vehicle gameplay at some point, because that would, like we've talked about before. We've talked about before about how, like, DBD could use a little bit of that Fortnite attitude, and the ramps, I was just like, that's a start. It could be.
This is what's happening with Killer Clowns. That's the reason it's disappeared. Is because it's getting a DBD killer instead, where they're going to drive around a little clown car.
Oh man.
Oh, what is happening to that game?
Anyway. We should do a full segment on that next week, I think, because I wanted to talk about that.
What, Killer Clowns?
Yeah, just because they've been.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm just curious why we haven't seen anything from them since February.
I'm gonna message them. They probably won't respond to me, but I'm gonna try.
You could always try. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do it right after this podcast. Actually.
Okay. Make sure you tell them sorry about. Make sure you tell them sorry about the fan, Gary.
Yeah.
Sorry about the fan in the background.
Sorry about you can hear the fan in the background.
So where's the game? Yeah. So the new map, we all like, because I know there's a lot of people that hate the new map.
I mean, we've all had our gripes. Everybody saw the map tier list. Like, none of us here on the Spine Chill podcast are a big fan of the maps in Dead by Daylight, and especially, I think we've been banging the drum of no good maps since Dead Dog since day one, right?
Yeah.
So I think hating on the map is like it's the easy thing to do. And I'll be honest with you,
are we being more forgiving of this map because we've had such, the Shit Square and Garden of Joy? Like, are we doing the same thing as like the Skull Merchant and Night, where it's like, well, it's not as bad as those two. This one doesn't hurt my eyes in quite the same way and hasn't got those horrible infinites like in that main building. Although the new map main ship can be a bit nightmarish sometimes.
It can be rough for sure.
If played well,
it can be run effective, but I don't know, man. I feel like that's yeah and no though. Like I do think yes, because the last few maps have been so aggressively bad that basically anything was going to be better than I mean, I guess they could have done as bad, right? I mean, they released Night and Skull Merchant back to back, so
yeah,
they could have done.
We didn't see Skull Merchant coming, did we? It hit us like a truck.
No.
Yeah, so they could have done the map equivalent of that, right? But they didn't. But I honestly think, objectively, if I look at it, and this is just one person with 1 week of playtime, I think that it's the best map that they've released since Dead Dog. Including like the Eerie rework, including the Gas Heaven reworks. Like, I think that it's a better map than those. Which to me is like a step. And I know that there will be pushback because like there's shit everywhere and people like to play Wesker and they like to play Huntress and they like to play Billy. Some people like to play Billy. And so, the clutter is like, I mean, but the clutter I don't think is going to go away. They've been adding clutter to old maps, right? Like they like clutter. For whatever reason, Behavior's map team is on that clutter bandwagon. They're clutter core these days. They're clutter pilled, if you will. Right.
Yes.
But I think that with that all in mind, the map is pretty solid. It's about as good as we're going to get.
I will say there are some things that constantly get overlooked on these maps, and I will say one thing I noticed is I quite like the gen placement. Like it doesn't feel 3-genable in quite the same way. Like the gens all seem spread out in a really nice way, whereas sometimes, especially some of the newer maps they've changed, feels like gens are very close together. This time they feel very well spread out.
Right.
Yeah, I would agree. I haven't been hard 3-gen on the new map yet. and I played on it a lot of times. I'm sure it's still possible with the right motivated skull merchant player. I'm sure it can happen. But
So Doug, if this is the best map since Dead Dog, what do you particularly like about it that makes you have that opinion?
I mean, again, I would say that and it's hard to to really know what the size of the map is. Did you guys know that Shelterwoods was the largest map in the game?
No.
Yeah,
it?
It doesn't feel and it never felt that way because of the way it was so wide open and there's some few structures, I think.
Yeah.
But I remember when I got in heavy into shoutcasting for comp DBD, one of the grid infographics said it was the largest map in the game, and I was like, that's not real. And then I looked into it and it was actually true. So it's hard for me to get a read on how big it is, but I feel like the size is just right. It doesn't feel like a massive map, but it doesn't feel super small. Like I said before, I don't feel like it's very dead zoney, and like you were talking about, I don't think it's very 3-gen-y. I do think, and I think that the main building is interesting without being overpowered or frustrating. There's a lot of orange. It reminds me maybe of the Crotus Friend, the clown map. The carnival a little bit.
Yeah. Father Campbell's Chapel.
Father Campbell's Chapel. Thank you. The main building feels reminiscent to the Campbell's Chapel, where it can spawn RNG wise really strong for Survivor, or it can spawn pretty weak. Which to me feels good. It's similar to kind of we had a lot of good things to say about Coal Tower, right? And it feels very similar to Coal Tower in that way too, where
Coal Tower's got a main building where it's this is a good one, this is a bad one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then overall the map, I think what I really love is consistency, right? And so it just feels like the game feels consistently balanced. Is balance the right word for it? The map doesn't ever feel just on either side.
It's got RNG in the right ways, but you don't feel like one variant is completely different to another. It's not this one I can't win. They've got the good window. I can't win this loop. It doesn't feel like that. It hasn't got that issue, which some maps can sometimes. Coal Tower is a great example. Sometimes they just get really good windows, and you have to break those doors, and you basically lose that chase to do that. The same with Father Campbell. Sometimes you can get ridiculously good main building on that. Other times you can get the worst one possible. And just go down.
Yeah, where the vaults are and everything.
Yeah, I've seen Campbell's Chapel literally just be all windows against a Huntress in a comp match, and I was like, this is the saddest thing. There's this. You're just so effed.
You chain those windows together and it's over.
Yeah.
I will say I would like them to bring more variants out soon. I'm a little tight. I will say I like the new map because I am a fan of it myself. I think it looks cool. I like the atmosphere, and I think I've enjoyed most experiences on it. I think the Singularity is quite tough on it because it's really difficult to get your bearings when you're jumping between cameras when everything looks the same. Because as you said, John, signposting is a bit of a nightmare. Try jumping between all those cameras, trying to get a grip of where you are on the map is a nightmare.
Right.
But Eyrie of Crows has one version. Haddonfield has one version.
Right.
Garden of Joy has one version. The Shit Square has one version. This new, Tober Landing has one version. I would like to see more variants because right now survivors can just drag you to RPD and they know what they're going to get you. They know what you're getting.
Right.
And I really hope they think about doing some more variants because that's one of the things I liked about old RPD was you were getting a 50-50. You were getting a more vault heavy map or you were getting a more pallet heavy map.
Mm-hmm.
And that could sometimes, and that lack of consistency I enjoy. I know, Doug, you were saying one of the things you like is consistency, but I sometimes quite like the lack of consistency. It's a hard balance.
I think that when you talk about consistency, though, the kind of consistency I'm talking about is a consistent experience on that individual map. Not because you're talking about variants in the same maps, like the map pack. I don't know. Badham has 5 variants, right? And they're all bad.
And they're all bad.
They're all bad.
Right? Yeah. But I'm with you on the RPD variants were actually very well done. I thought. Yeah. I think it's great.
I would like them to stop making new maps and just make new variants. But sorry, Doug, I interrupted.
Clean. No, I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah,
clean up some of the other ones.
I think it might be a little difficult lore wise, not to bring that up, but Eyrie of Crows, how are they going to make a new map like that? Because it's the artist's realm and specifically, right? Or this new map, the new planet map. How are they going to make another variant on the planet if they don't make another like alien killer, you know?
Well, just for the new alien map, just build like a. You know how they got the alien like relic looking doors, like those black doors.
Yeah.
Build a big tower like that. Stick that in the middle instead of the spaceship. Bish bash bosh. Put your plants everywhere. Done.
Yeah.
And then for Area of Crows, just build her a different shaped library.
Who cares about the lore, bro? Like, I don't know.
I'm kind of playing devil's advocate a little bit.
Yeah,
Doug, there are people that read the lore. They build.
I know. John is looking. He's going for like a crazy demographic. Like, there's like 7 dudes who are like, yeah, John, yes, John Wolfe, yes, the lore. You can't make another space map because there's not a new alien for the space map. Like, it's Dead by fucking Daylight, man. Like, it's.
I'm just saying it'd be kind of weird if they were like, we're releasing the Xenomorph, and here's a new Area of Crows map.
Oh, hang on, I know how you can do it. It's the entity. Do you know what I would love them to do? Start merging some maps together.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Why don't we see Area of Crows, that weird library thing? Oh, it's on the alien planet.
It's like what Fortnite does with their maps. It's like
they
slowly
I just want to know
and like corrupt things. They do that all the time. Yeah.
I don't know why it's so funny to me, the concept, like, who's going to be mad if they're like, they release an Area of Crows new map. It's like, whoa, where did this come from? Someone explain this to me. Where did it come from? It's like, I don't know, man.
Birthday lives in the other map,
yeah.
Not here.
I don't know, man.
Stromo, but no, we had to go to the Area of Crows map.
Because, like, I mean, they've done that. They gave Crotus Spren to the clown. Like, they just were like, well, we'll just put Crotus Spren as the clown's realm.
But that makes sense, though.
And they've like blown up. They just did 5 versions of Adam. Like, how did you explain that, Freddy? How does Freddy explain that to me?
It's the entity, isn't it? It's the entity creates these realms and like.
Yeah,
right.
Like, how do you explain? There's 5 different versions.
But like when it's a different planet, that's like a very specific like for an alien map. So like if they release like the slug or something like that, and he's not an alien, then
what if they just did it like the Singularity just like requested a new map from the entity? He was like, you know what, I'd like a different map.
I can't get on.
Can we get like we'll get a cutscene? We'll get a cutscene of him like applying for it and going to like the fucking DMV of Dead by Daylight.
I don't think we have to worry about the lore side because from an immersion perspective, like Meg doesn't like say anything when she's on an alien planet being chased by the clown, who also has nothing to say about being on an alien planet where there's weird bird creatures flying. I mean, like
I don't care, but Dead by Daylight has been around for 7 years, and they've never done this thing where they're just like, oh, there's a new map that completely doesn't fit the killer at all.
He's saying he doesn't care, but he's the one that brought it up.
Well, because you guys are acting like it's preposterous.
It's awesome. It's
making me double down.
It's like I get it, and I understand.
No, I don't get what the problem would be with having like 3 variants of the alien planet. Like there is 5 versions of Badam.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. But they only release new maps when there's a new killer, and typically the map is associated with that, like strongly with that killer.
Did they only ever add variants when there was a new killer? Did Badam come out with just 1 version? They slowly added more.
I'm pretty sure it was all 5 at once, wasn't it?
Yeah, because I thought like that came out of a bunch. Like that's what I mean. Like I wish they would just make a few variants of maps. Like RBD came out with 2 versions. I would like some new maps to come out. Sorry to interrupt. No, you go, John. You go.
What I think would be a nice thing for them to do is like in the mid chapter, be like some new maps, some new variants.
Yeah.
How will we explain that lore wise? They've never done that in the mid chapter. The mid chapter lore is the mid chapter lore is to just change a perk or 2. You know, just nerf a perk and then give us some new skins. I mean, that's mid chapter lore. We have to check with the lore people on Reddit, bro. Like we can't just be willy nilly adding new realms. You know, like this is like the funniest segment we've ever done. I don't know.
If Reddit was still
it's like
functioning, there'd be a subreddit being made about me and Doug right now being like, these guys don't give a shit about the lore in DBD.
I know, and that's what I'm saying. I'm like, John, I want to make this very clear, John. I know you were literally just making a conversation. This is not your thing. Like John's not gonna like end.
This is not a hill you want to die on.
He's not gonna end the podcast and be like, we need to talk about this lore thing some more. We need to figure this out. So it just makes me
you guys to be like, yeah, well, whatever.
No,
but instead you guys were like, "What a ridiculous idea!
It was a completely idea, though.
Inconsequential, preposterous scenario."
It's just like the 9 people that would be like, "Why are they doing another alien map when it's not the alien killer that came out?" Like this, like they can fucking deal with it. We want more maps. It's just
I would love it if they were just like, here's 47 new maps.
But
every
you're
single
right,
release.
though. The more I'm thinking about it, because didn't they do the RPD reworks when they released? They did RPD for Nemesis, right?
Yes.
And they did the reworks when they brought Wesker. They were like, well, it's time for RPD again. And
Right.
you're right. Like, the more I think about it, they brought the new Crotus Pren map in specifically for the clown, right?
Right.
Like, have they ever? And then when they added the new Red Forest map, it was for the plague.
Right.
So even within realms, have they ever just done a new map for the fun of it? I don't think so.
I don't think so. Yeah.
I think you're right. And you know, if we're wrong, someone will let us know.
Someone
in the
will
comments.
tell us.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that's when they started just adding new variants.
Right.
Yeah.
No, and I'm totally on board with that.
And I wonder if it's the
Especially
lore.
with
Is it the
God-
lore that's
God-
holding it up? Like, is
Maybe there's one person behavior is like, no, their law matters. Damn it.
I mean,
There is
Like I
7
said-
people out there that track this stuff.
if like the next mid chapter they were just like, there's 3 new map variants, I'd be like, sick, awesome. I wish they would do that, but they just haven't.
Yeah.
It's been 7 years and they've never
See,
set that precedent.
It surprises me as well, just because like Garden of Joy aesthetically, I will talk about the rest of the chapter in a bit, I guess, but like Garden of Joy, from a visual perspective, is so interesting. They could do such crazy, wacky things. They could pull in stuff
Right.
from other maps and make it float around
Yeah.
this weird dimension.
yeah.
But they don't. They've just gone, well, there's a house on this one. We'll just leave it as. Like, it's the
Yeah.
Dredge's realm. You could go,
Right.
you could go crazy.
You could go crazy with Dredge. Just his whole
Yeah,
thing
exactly.
is that he's like gross and weird and does like
Yeah.
like actual monster stuff.
Give me a
I
map
just
with
wanna-
there's clocks floating around and.
I want
whatever,
to
don't know.
I want to circle back one more time because I know, John, I know you're not going to lose any sleep over this, but I think the reason why for me it was such like a what are you talking about is that like I had like not even realized that I've been playing the game. I don't know if I've mentioned my hours before. I've been playing since 2016. I have a lot of hours in the game. I had never
You've been
realized
playing
that.
since 2016.
Yeah, yeah.
You never told me that.
I know it'll be on my co-host application. I'm sure. But no, I just had never realized that they've never just released a new map variant without it being that I know of without it being associated with a killer.
Right.
Other than maybe the Batum 5 when they did that, and I don't remember why they did that.
Mm.
Why is there 5
No.
of those?
Oh,
Dream variants. I don't know.
Because when I look at them, I couldn't tell you which one is which.
Oh, it's like the playground changes on some of them. I don't know. Yeah.
Like I can tell you like how where the Killer Shack's here instead this one and I
Right.
couldn't tell you which one's numbered which, and I couldn't really tell you
No.
what one's my favorite or least favorite because they're all basically the same.
Yeah.
It's the same shit in a different order.
Hey, I can't even describe to you the ones that are my least favorite or favorite. Like I can't. It's just like, well, in this one, the Killer Shack is on the opposite side of the school. Like I just.
Yeah.
There's this
They're all
annoying
pretty much
school
the same.
thing with these 2 breakable doors.
Yeah. Every variant has an insane main building loop, a
Right.
Killer Shack, a House of Pain, and like
and that other house,
Set-
which is a bit of a pain in the ass as well.
yeah, the 2-story, right? And then they have like an unreasonable amount of filler tiles that have safe pallets on them. That's every variant. So it really doesn't
Right.
matter if the shack is in the top left corner or the bottom right corner. Like every corner has a gross building, right? And each one of those gross buildings has a bunch of connecting tiles to get from gross building to gross building. So
Yeah.
it really doesn't matter if it's variant 1 or variant 5. You're going to have a
If
bad
they-
time.
I would love them to do a test. They just delete one every couple of weeks. Just delete another variant of it until there's
Yeah.
only one left, and see how long it takes people to notice that there's only one variant of Badham.
Yeah.
I
Somebody
like the
would
idea
notice.
that behavior would do these like jigsaw style experiments.
I
Like,
know, it'd be
let's
great, wouldn't it?
gaslight them.
Well, I mean, somebody at behavior is keeping us from the map variant reworks because of the lore problem. And it's like, there's obviously people. There's some sort of Illuminati stuff happening.
There's some
behavior
sadists
forward.
there.
Yeah, sadists.
Some kind of sadist.
Sadists.
They don't- Do they
I-
train on Omega?
I will say, also to kind of echo something, a story that's been slowly building over the weeks is I played on Gas Heaven another couple times, and I decided I really don't like the new map. I don't like the new rework.
Oh, New Gas Heaven
I-
sucks. I've played on it a couple more
I-
times myself. I hate it.
I hate it. I want the old one back. And normally with the reworked maps, I'm like, yeah, sure.
Blood
It's
Lodge as
fine.
well, to be honest. Blood Lodge has lost some charm.
Yeah. The new Gas Heaven is just like, it's just a mess now. It
Yeah.
really is. Without those 2 main car walls that they had before, well, like it wasn't perfect, but it had character to it. Now it's just a mess.
I am getting a distinct separation of there's like a new team dealing with maps, and the purity of the old maps has been lost. Whoever worked on the old maps I miss them.
Yeah, we get them back.
Anyway,
we
we got a bunch of new perks as well.
Right. Yeah, I'm probably gonna let you guys steer that conversation because I haven't unlocked any of the new perks yet, and there hasn't been a moment in my games where I've been like, oh, they're running the new perk. So I haven't had much experience with it.
Well, I think the one that people are like shitting themselves the most over is probably made for this.
Yeah.
Right.
The 3% movement speed.
Yeah, 3% haste whilst you're injured, and you gain 10 seconds of endurance when you finish healing another survivor.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, I think it was an overreaction.
I really like the perk. I think
people are panicking about it, but I've seen one clip so far that was meant to be like, see, it's a problem. And literally it was like a wraith chasing on a rock. Right. It was on
one of the Macmillan maps, right?
Yeah, it was a Mac map. Which one is it? The one with the mines. With the mines.
Yeah, the mines.
It's Azerov's, right? It's Azerov's, right?
No,
Like, see,
no,
with the mines. Yeah, that's my. That was the throwback to when Macy called Azerov's the mines.
Groaning Storehouse? No, Suffocation Pit.
Suffocation Pit.
Yes,
that's
the one.
Yeah, so it's on Suffocation Pit. It's a rock. The exit gate's literally right there. And a wraith is chasing a dude in a circle who has hope and made for this, and he can't catch him. And it's like, at no point does this wraith decide to just take a step back to the exit gate. Like, the guy can't leave the rock. Right. He's on the rock until the game's over. And the exit gate is open.
Or I would also say the wraith wasn't trying to mind game.
He didn't double back. He didn't give. And again, if the survivor is good enough, they're good. He's not going to catch him on that loop, even with mind gaming. Like, it's not going to happen. The survivor will have to make a mistake. However, pretending like that was the only option he had was to chase that rock is a little disingenuous because again, the exit gate was right behind him. The guy can't leave the rock or he's dead.
Right.
Unless body blockers come, which they can come, but you're still going to set yourself up. It's just, and again, even with all of that, it's like a fringe situation. Right? It's just, I think that like, and I'll get off my soapbox here in 1 second. I think that one of the biggest problems with DVD is that there's like a lot of stale perk usage. Like I run the same build like every chat. Like I'll usually pick a build and just run it till the next chapter. I'm like, this is what I'm comfortable running, right? But like, I think a lot of people are kind of like, they don't like to do that. They like to mix it up, and I think that there's just a lot of perks that basically just aren't very interesting or useful. And so people complain that the meta is the most effective stuff available, right? Everybody always just uses the good stuff. But then whenever behavior makes a perk that's good, that could break into the meta, everybody wants it nerfed like immediately.
Yeah.
Right.
And then what happens is they do that, and that perk stops getting used, and they'll just fall back on whatever else is like the most effective perk to use. I just don't know why everybody is so opposed to the game having strong stuff in it. Like it can have strong stuff in it. The most fun I ever had on DBD was when the game was fucking broken. When there was instant gens and instant moris and instant heals and
dead hard
insane flashlights,
space and time.
Yeah. And Billy could chainsaw like instantly with add-ons. Like everything was so awesome. And like there was broken stuff on both sides. And then the more stuff gets fixed and balanced, the less interesting the games are.
Well, it becomes more competitive. And like when you lose, it becomes more of a skill issue. Maybe that's why people get so pissy and moany about everything. Because like now, when they lose, there's less excuses. Like when I was playing Singularity and I got dragged to the game, and I was against a 3-man Swift, they admitted, in the post game. And I was a bit sassy in the post game, but I got a 2K and I was really, really happy. And like that's because like I threw away the chance of me winning because it was the game, and people don't do that enough in this game. Like I don't know, everyone takes it so fucking seriously.
Yeah,
right. But Made for This is a very fun perk, and when you have hope with it and you pop that last gen pops, it's really funny. You feel really speedy. It's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, No. Did I tell you guys my Singularity story?
Vaguely, you briefly mentioned it to us. I'd like to hear it in more detail, though.
Yeah, I would love to hear. Your stories are my favorite.
So on Tuesday,
story time with John.
My first time ever playing a Singularity, because as you may remember, I didn't play in the PTB, so I had no idea what to go off of except people's descriptions of how the Singularity worked. And we talked about it a little bit on the podcast. And then, if you remember, I was saying like, from what you're saying, it kind of sounds similar to the Skull Merchant, like another 3-gen killer. And you guys were like, no. That's not what he's like at all. And I was like, okay, you've set my mind at ease. So I queue up, I get the Singularity, my very first match. It's on Ormond, and this guy is running 4 kick perks, and he's set up a 3-gen from the very beginning. He's got 4 cameras set up in the main building, and the match drags on for like 20, 25 minutes. And it's just me sitting there, tapping the gen. Uh-oh, I got pinged. Oh, run away. Oh, he teleported. He got a hit. He goes to kick the gen. Just over and over again. And I was just sitting there. I was like, not again. Please, God. Not a third time in a row. But we finally, we pulled through. It was tough because it was solo queue. There was like me and another Yunjin, of course. The only ones that were actually playing, tapping gens. These other 2 guys were just like running around doing whatever they wanted. I don't know. And then I eventually figured out, I was like, okay, this guy's only checking like 2 gens. The main building gen in Ormond, and then the one right outside. And then there's one in the corner that he's just not checking at all. So I went and I just did that one from 0 to 100. We finally got it done. And as soon as the gen popped, this guy DCs. I was like, you put us through a 25-minute match of you laming it out with a 3-gen build. Not even particularly well, by the way. After 25 minutes of playing against Singularity doing that, I was like, okay, he's not like the Skull Merchant, actually. He's trying to, but he can't do it. It's not the same. Yeah, so I get what you guys are saying completely now. But going in there, I was just like, oh, God, are we really... Like, my first time playing against this killer, and this is how they're playing?
You must have been like, John and... you must have been like, Gary and Doug, they were wrong. They were wrong. They lied to me.
Oh, I'm talking about this on the podcast.
That's so funny.
But yeah, it's as soon as that last gen popped, he DC'd. I hope he uninstalled, frankly.
Yeah, so that's a Skull Merchant player trying the new killer.
Exactly.
Skull Merchants aren't good at the game.
Exactly. And that's the Skull Merchant being like, I'm tired of playing the Skull Merchant.
Yeah. Maybe one with some lethality would be fun. Yeah, I went against the 3-genning Singularity on the Swamp, the Pale Rose, and that was not fun. That was actually, that Singularity player was actually able to very effectively 3-gen us. Is probably more of a byproduct of solo queue.
That map is also can be really bad for gen placement.
Oh yeah, gen placement was bad, and then the dead zones in the middle almost immediately dead zoned the 3-gen in the middle, and so it was this. And there was, like you said, the pods were everywhere. Like we couldn't. I wanted the DC. I was like, I would get in there, start on a gen, he'd come back to his pod. I'm like, okay, and I take off. He'd hit me. I go reset, and like. During that whole thing, no one else was doing gens, and I think that if I had been with you guys and like we could have called EMPs and maybe like done some rotations, we would. I don't think that the Singularity, even with the strong 3-gen build, I don't think they're a real threat to the meta in terms of that. They're not like you said, like the Skull Merchant of the Night in that way.
For every time they achieve this 3-gen hell, they lose like 10 games because
they have to, right? Because if they get any map. With any sort of spread, it can be, and then if they get a team that even has like 2 people coordinating EMPs,
exactly,
they're gonna get that thing broken.
Yeah, I started going off and getting EMPs and just coming in and like nuking 4 pods at once, just over and over again. Yeah, and like it was annoying, but it didn't feel oppressive.
That is what made them DC in the end.
Yeah,
was them losing after like every time they would go to their cameras, and it was already nuked. And it was like, because it's not a great feeling.
It's like that Resident Evil Resistance feeling.
Yeah, it is. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Hack the planet.
Hack the planet, exactly. Fucking January players every single time.
Like horrible flashbacks.
Yeah.
But yeah, so made for this. It's quite a fun perk. I think people were, as Doug's saying, is making a big deal out of nothing. The other 2 perks seem fine. Troubleshooter, that's great for solo queue if you keep sandbagging gens, but it's not a big deal. I will say, dropping a pallet and seeing the killer's aura for 6 seconds, it's quite fun. Quite nice, actually.
I love aura reading perks on Survivor.
Yeah. Might be worth taking any means necessary with it, so you don't feel like you're just wasting pallets sometimes, but...
I really want more perks to pair with open-handed, like really badly. I'm like Bond and Kindred are fine, but I really want a 4th perk for me to pair with that. Yeah.
Scavenger, 5 tokens refilling a toolbox, and you can scavenge another chest to get another toolbox out. It's
weren't people complaining about that one before? Did they change it, or
they nerfed it a little bit? Yeah.
Okay.
But like generally it seems fine still. I couldn't tell if you could use it twice. I haven't had an opportunity to get enough skill checks on a toolbox to see if it refills a second time.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm definitely earning tokens after I use it. So it seems like I might be able to get a second toolbox refill, which if that's the case, perks, cool. Like it's quite exciting. Unlikely to get a second use out of it, but that's cool.
Yeah.
And like, because you right now I think if you get the 5 tokens, you repair gens 50% slower for 30 seconds. So it punishes you like that, so you can't just instantly refill your toolbox and then just rush the gen. It works out really well though if you get the 5th token as you're finishing a gen, because then you have 30 seconds to get to another gen, and then it's. But yeah, those are the survivor perks. They all seem quite fun, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got the singularities, which genetic limits. When a survivor finishes a healing action, they suffer from exhausted for 32 seconds.
Right.
It's okay. Forced hesitation. When a survivor is put into the dying state, any survivors within 16 meters are hindered by 20% for 10 seconds. That's quite a fun one. It's hard to really tell if you're getting it, I guess. I think that's probably going to be something that a nurse brings. But I really like machine learning. This is the perk that I think I'm gonna run like on my build, because I think it's really weird and exciting. So when you damage a generator, it becomes compromised. And once it gets completed, for 30 seconds, you become undetectable and get 10% haste. And that, very useful. And you get it when the final gen is completed. As long as you've kicked the gen before then, you'll get undetectable and 10% haste, which, Doug, you might actually really enjoy that with No In and No Way Out.
Yeah, I think that could be pretty fun. I think to pair with my end game surprise build. I got to start playing more killer. I just have been leaning into I am a progression.
Well, Survivor's harder at the moment, isn't it? Like killer's become like there's a simple formula to winning as killer. Like you can just camp someone out and
right.
Yeah, there is. I mean, but then if you don't do that, then you're like at risk of getting crunched, and it's just there's a lot like to it, but a lot of nuance. But the big thing for me is that there's a new chapter out, and I like to speed run the content and get everything prestiged up and all the achievements done.
There's more points on Survivor, right?
More points because you get the bonus, the blood point bonus. Yeah. So I just have been playing the bonuses. So that's why I barely played the Singularity. Because again, new killer and relatively popular killer, so a lot of people were playing it. So there was no bonuses for the first couple days.
Yeah, that makes sense. Outside of that though, Deja Vu. New Deja Vu is fun. I'm really enjoying using it. I know, Doug, you think that no one's going to run it, but it is really useful.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that anymore. I teased you about it a lot because it's funny, but I mean, who knows?
Damn it, you got me again.
I just think that maybe the Deja Vu change would have been more impactful, like during the real
Skull Merchant height.
Yeah, the real
like release day. Yeah.
Yeah, the real dregs of like the eruption meta.
It's funny because I'm bringing Deja Vu now because I like it as a perk and it's nice to avoid the 3 gen. But if I get Skull Merchant now when it's Deja Vu's there now to kind of help against her, I still refuse to play against her. I can't be asked. Yeah. Deja Vu buff or not, I'm not going to spend 20 to 30 minutes playing against a Skull Merchant. It's not worth it.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But the Deja Vu buff's pretty fun. Wesker's broken at the moment. He's turning invisible. I think they figured out what the problem is as well. And I could be wrong about this because I don't know how DBD is programmed. Do you want to hear my theory about how Wesker broke? So I think when a Wesker uses his M2 to dive over a pallet, I don't think it's one character model. I think they switch off one character and change him out for another one. So I think the animation runs automatically. So imagine you've got this parent object of Wesker, like his character controller, and then underneath that is a bunch of meshes, each having an animation on it. So yes, his running animation is standard one, and then like he does his M2 over a pallet, so it turns this one off and turns this one on.
Right.
And I think something's getting disconnected there, so that the character animation part is standing statically in front of the pallet, whereas the character controller is becoming disconnected and still jumping over. So he becomes invisible.
Oh, okay.
And it's only when he hits someone or does another animation that it resets itself.
Right.
That's what I think's happening.
So how would that have happened? Like, what change would have affected that?
I think it's something to do with the singularity. Because the singularity goes into overclocked mode. When that teleports into a pallet, it breaks it. It does something very new. And I don't know how DBD is programmed, but like, you know, sometimes ruin breaks when, you know, breakdown is changed. So I don't know how it's all intertwined together. So I think something to do with overclock mode and the Singularity has somehow affected the way Wesker, who does something very unique over palettes, has worked with it. So I imagine there's something interconnected with that. It's what I suspect.
Right.
But either way, Wesker was turning invisible, so they've kill switched him.
That's too bad. I miss Wesker. I love Wesker players. They're so funny. Mostly because they're usually not very good, but they're kind of mean, so it's like the best combination.
I actually had 2 really adorable Weskers the other day. Like, in quick succession, they were just really nice, and they like gave me the hatch. They were fun. They were nodding.
Oh, really?
Yeah, nice. I was a little bit caught off guard, because, as you say, Weskers are usually kind of mean. They're usually like Blight players that can't quite learn how to play Blight. So they play the simpler version, and they take out all their frustration.
Right. Yeah. Crash!
And then the only other thing that I've not really seen people talking about is Jolt is bugged at the moment. So
Jolt?
Yep, Jolt used to make people scream, and they took that off because obviously it got buffed, and they took the scream off. It's making people scream again.
Oh.
So I'm surprised I haven't bumped into too many people running it with Dead Man Switch, but I suspect that'll happen very quickly, especially now that I've said it now.
Well, it's also a killer perk, so it probably won't get kill switched.
Yeah, probably. So it's making them scream? Because I played against Jolt on Tuesday, and I don't remember screaming.
Maybe it's not consistent, because I've had other people saying that it wasn't making them scream, but I had 2 matches where Jolt was making me scream.
Was it when you were on the gen and it activated? Oh, so it like shocked you off kind of thing.
Yes,
maybe that's why. Okay.
Which is
yeah, because I was on this. I don't know. It's probably inconsistent. Yeah. So
because it's a bug, it's probably not.
Yeah.
Always going to happen, but I know it's. I was very confused. I forget who I was against. I was on RPD, and I screamed and got the gen pop, and I was like, oh, it must be eruption, and then they knocked someone else down. It did it to me again. I was like, they haven't kicked it because I've not got off of it. It must be Jolt.
Right. Yeah. Oh, okay.
So there's a little bug with that. And apparently there's various other bugs. I think I've heard some rumors there being a Legion one at the moment, but like with the frenzy mode downs. I don't know, there's a few bugs here and there, but it's nothing new from that, is it? It's new chapter. There's going to be some little things that need to get resolved.
Yeah. True. Well, so overall, we range from meh to a little optimistic.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the new chapter.
Yeah, definitely better than the last one. It's better than the shit sandwich we just ate a few months ago.
Oh yeah. Again, yeah. I don't know. I'm not really ready to back down off of like.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, again, and I've said it. I try to be gentle, on stream talking about it. Hashtag into the fog and whatnot. But I just feel like I don't want to sound entitled, but like I just expected more. I am excited about. So we haven't really touched on this, but the Twisted Masquerade's coming back in like a week.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
We're getting the new anniversary event, and then again, this is something I wanted to say earlier and I didn't, but I'm glad I got an opportunity. I just set myself up. If we didn't have Nicolas Cage coming in a month, I'd be in way lower spirits about it. But because we have something new and exciting happening next month, we have the anniversary event into Nicolas Cage. That makes it kind of okay that we didn't get a huge.
Did you guys see that trailer that he shows at the Game Awards?
The Summer Game
Fest? Yeah, Summer Fest.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
So it looks like, has he got a perk which is a bit like old Dead Hard?
I don't know. I didn't notice that.
There was like a trapper thing where the trapper like swings and he just kind of walks past him. I was like, is that a perk?
I thought the trapper just whiffed. I thought it was just.
I couldn't tell. It looked like I couldn't tell if that was like a thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Because I remember that exact clip you're talking about, but I didn't think it was like a move that he pulled.
Because it looked like he had some like speed lines coming, if I remember correctly. I remember being like, that looks weird.
Yeah. I read that as like just haste. He was just hasted.
Oh, it could have been haste.
Trapper whiffed, but yeah, it could be. Who knows?
There's been a lot of speculation on whether that's one of the perks and if it's going to be like kind of like the birth of Dead Hard again. And I think that's hilarious that people are already starting to get ready to go to war against the new Dead Hard.
They're already getting
They're
mad.
Mobilizing. Yeah, they're getting ready.
What if it's like a Nick Cage exclusive ability?
Ooh.
you
I
have
would
to be
sell
Nicolas
some
Cage.
DLCs.
You had to be Nicolas Cage, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
overall-
very excited for Nicolas Cage.
That Summer Game Fest appearance that he made, it was cool seeing him on stage talking with Jeff Keighley about DBD, because it seemed like his son plays it, because he didn't say that, but it seems like he, you know, he said someone very close to me is very interested in the game. So
That's a good impression, John.
He might have been talking about
thank
me. Good boys, you
yeah,
know?
possibly. Yeah, but I was just like, damn, people's kids getting them into this, that's pretty cool. So, and he seemed like he had like respect for the game and was talking about it like
was
somewhat
kind of
knowledgeably.
Kind of surreal to see him talking about it.
Yeah.
It's a bit weird. You know, that's a little game we play on Twitch.
Yeah. It's like a major Hollywood actor, even
Yeah.
though a lot of the DVD player base has no idea who he is, apparently.
Yeah, which is really bizarre.
Yeah. I loved reading those threads. But yeah, very exciting. Yeah, to your point, like it's coming up in just a few weeks.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun to cover.
So that's DVD. Is there anything I've missed out about DVD?
No. I think that's it. We covered the new release, upcoming Masquerade, Nicolas Cage,
Yeah.
new Killer, new Survivor, new
I
Perks.
sound entitled, but I just think it was just underwhelming, and I think that they're gonna get away with it because the last two chapters were so bad. And I really hope that the next chapter, they've been hyping up the next chapter as a license chapter.
With a
So I
capital
hope it-
L.
Yeah, capital L for the new licenses that are coming out.
So I hope it's a big one. And
I will say, like, I completely understand the meh vibe, and I do think it's a very acquired taste to play the Singularity. I don't think it's going to be a very popular killer, which is disappointing, because you kind of want... I mean, Wesker's a really interesting... You know, he's a very special thing, but you want more killers that have at least an essence of that, whereas I think Singularity's going to have, like, maybe more players than the twins, but that's not saying a lot. Or maybe less, because I think, like, it's... I don't know.
Gary's twins prediction. We'll see if it comes true.
It's hard to say. Like, it's really deflating to play that thing, and I like playing it, but I can see why people will be like, "Oh, fuck this! I'd rather just play anything else."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, we'll see how it shakes out.
but yeah,
Sometimes,
okay.
sometimes these killers come out and they don't make an immediate splash, but then eventually they get to the point where people really figure them out. Or like, oh, you can do this with them, you can do that with them, and they bounce back a little bit sometimes.
I would argue that, again, Wesker being disabled is going to help the Singularity player base flesh out a little bit more. I think there are people still... I mean, I guess correlation is not always causation, right? But Wesker is disabled, and we're like still getting... I was hanging out... I was playing with Tally last night, and I raided Tally last night, and was watching him, and he was getting Singularities like 4 out of 5 games. And that's his MMR, and I was getting them all day at my MMR, so... It was just, I mean, people are playing...
I got a handful.
Yeah. I mean, it's not... It hasn't dropped off. I mean, Knight dropped off and then came back. Skull Merchant dropped off and came back. Singularity hasn't really dropped off. It's been out all week.
Yeah, like, it's weird. Like, the last killer I can remember that like dropped off and just didn't recover already was Sadako.
Right.
Like, she came out like
yeah.
day 1 she came out, and then day 2 no one was playing her.
Yeah.
And still to this day, the only time you see one now is like, I've decided we're going to have a Suffering Condemn build match.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
One Pump Willie was like, guys, look what you can do. And people were like, oh, well, once in a while people will do that. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, that's the player base for Sadako.
True. Sadists.
In other asymmetrical horror news, Home Sweet Home Online still isn't a thing. Oh, John.
We've been waiting weeks to talk about Home Sweet Home Online, the official launch, and it still hasn't happened.
They're all cursed, aren't they? It feels like every single asymmetrical horror game is cursed with a terrible launch. Like Resident Evil Resistance, they decided to put it with Resident Evil 3. Last year, Discord exclusive.
Right.
VHS, just terrible plans.
Whatever the fuck
they were doing.
Whatever the fuck they did.
Whatever that was.
Now Home Sweet Home online, where it's like it's not worked. I don't think it's their fault though. I think it might be a Steam issue. I don't know what's going on, but it's really bizarre.
So for anyone that hasn't been keeping up, Home Sweet Home Online is doing something very strange. I don't know why they're doing it this way. It must be something with Steam. But they have Home Sweet Home Survive, which is the old game. But then they shut down the servers for that, so you can't play Home Sweet Home Survive or you couldn't for a few weeks. They brought it back because it was taking so long.
Yeah, it's back as of the 15th. Like, you can play Home Sweet Home Survive again for free. You can play it for the meantime.
But what they were telling people to do was to like uninstall Home Sweet Home Survive and to download a new game, a new listing on Steam called Home Sweet Home Online. And then you would download that and then open that up and play that. It'd be a completely separate file, completely separate game. And the thing was, I think something was happening where they weren't able to publish the game for some reason.
It's weird because it's going to carry on, like, all your progression is going to be carried over.
Right.
So it does seem like they may as well just update the old game. Maybe that's the problem.
Exactly.
I wonder if that's the issue, is they can't move that data from the old game to the new one.
That's why I'm, because when I read like, oh, all your stuff will carry over, I was just like, what the fuck it is, you know? I've heard that story before. That you very well could be correct. That could be the issue, because I was wondering how they were going to do that.
Yeah, in the meantime, they've relaunched Home Sweet Home Survive as free to play as of the 15th. So if you want to, you can play that. But Home Sweet Home Online, we have no ETA on it.
It's a shame, honestly, because like out of all the ASIMs out there, you know, like Home Sweet Home Survive or Online or whatever has been like doing pretty well. Like they found a niche for themselves and they've been thriving, and this was going to be a big deal for them for their big official launch. And it's the story of ASIM, isn't it?
Yeah,
really.
I remain looking forward to it though. Like whenever it comes, I will play it.
Same. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, I'll check it out too.
Especially if they give like 100 loot boxes or whatever on launch day.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll give like, I think they've said about they're going to be giving like apology stuff for this situation. So
for like every day that passes that you can't play Home Sweet Home Online, they're giving out like a free loot box and then like a bunch of other stuff too, like in-game currency. So
so long as it carries over.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's the big thing.
But yeah, that's the Home Sweet Home news, or lack thereof, I guess. In terms of talking about the curse of asymmetrical horror, should we talk about, for the last time, probably, Video Horror Society? It's officially dead.
Yeah, they so Hellbent, the developers of VHS, just tweeted out, I think like last week, they were like, we're officially going to, what would they say, cease development or halt development efforts or something.
I believe it's going to come peer-to-peer if you want to play it.
Yeah.
They're going to shut down the servers.
In just a few months. It's not even going to be that long. I was kind of surprised. I was like, that's pretty quick. I think it's like in August or something, or September. They're shutting it down completely. You won't be able to play it anymore after that.
Yeah, they're going to delist it and be done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that people are...
Who could have predicted this? Sorry.
Right, yeah. Well, I think people are rightfully pissed off because they made that tweet, was it a month or two ago, where they were like,
it was like a month.
Hey guys,
it wasn't
we're reallocating some people to another team, but we're gonna keep cracking on, so don't you worry. VHS isn't going anywhere, guys. And so a lot of people kept playing, kept spending money in the store, and kept on, you know what I mean? Like,
they kept hoping that they could encourage the game to continue, I guess. Yeah,
and then a couple months later, they just say, "Oh, by the way, we're just kidding about all that. We're just gonna shut it down. We're just calling it."
Yeah.
And so a lot of people are getting, and again, I saw this kind of the vibe on social media, Horror Asim Twitter. The vibe was kind of like, oh, they were just trying to sell more skins, get some like a last second cash grab before they shut it down. Like they kind of knew the odds that they like had the numbers and they had the stats and they knew what they needed to do to keep the game alive, and the odds that they made that announcement in good faith saying we're going to keep on trying, but we are moving people on to some other projects, and then like this quickly determined that they had to just quit it, like doesn't seem like a good fit.
Yeah, they knew like a months ago.
That's what I'm saying, right?
This game was
dead.
And
then another thing that has been a over throughout the entirety of the VHS debacle, the launch, the fumble on the launch, the shutdown, the early access, all this stuff.
They're sending you an email implying that they didn't know who you are.
No, that was the thing they did. I can't feel that anymore though, because I won, they lost. Like no one's gonna know who they are pretty soon. You know, it's just gonna just drift away. But one of the major complaints that people have had, and Hellbent, I say a lot of things critical of them, especially lately, recently, but all jokes aside, like, they did some things right. And one of the things they did right, I think they were pretty good about doing like developer updates where they would do like podcast style and tell you, hey, this is what we're working on. This is what we're thinking about. We want to be, they were very transparent a lot in the beginning, especially early, very transparent about what their plans were and what they were doing. And then as the game progressed and they got less and less specific, which to this point now it seems like it was because they didn't know what they were doing and they were running out of things to do and they were about to shut down.
It could be certain social media elements leaving the company as well that
True.
Handled that side of things.
They during their developer updates would consistently say, we're not going to start pushing advertising. We're not going to start pushing advertising the game until we think it's ready for a larger audience, a broader audience. Like they're like, we're gonna save that for when the game goes live. And so this whole early access period, they've kind of just not said anything or done anything to promote the game. And then they're like, you know what? It's never actually going to go live. It's just, we're just going to kill it in early access. And it's just like,
I'm starting to think it wasn't about advertising anymore. I think it was, they didn't know how to do it. They didn't know what to do. So they just said, we're not going to do it until we're ready, which basically meant they weren't.
The marketing of the game has always been atrocious ever since they started first rolling out keys for when it was in closed beta or whatever that was. I don't know. There's been so many stages of this game. We're never going to see the official release. It's a shame, but they've kind of been botching the marketing and the pre-launch stages the entire way. I'd
also go one thing. Like, I don't know if they really ever figured out what their target market was.
No.
Their business model implies they wanted Fortnite-esque, free-to-play, buy cosmetics. That was their target market, but they didn't in any way indicate they were pushing for console, which is a giant mistake.
Yeah.
But the game is an asymmetrical horror game, and you only have to look at the DBD player base to know VHS was aimed at a very different audience, which was a giant mistake. I'll always look at I don't know why they made their protagonists a bunch of annoying children. I don't know why they made it this very vibrant, cartoon-esque world, for example. I like the aesthetic style to an extent, but it's who's your game marketed towards?
Right.
So I don't think they had a battle plan for that.
I think probably the biggest barrier to entry was the gameplay, and it was very not new player friendly, which part of that had to do with the player base. When you've got 50 players online and 48 of them have been playing since day one, they've got thousands of hours, and you pop in fresh, it's just not going to go well for you, right?
Well, I think very early on they managed to, for me, I felt like they targeted the more negative elements of the DBD community, which was a lot of sweaty people, and then they one of the most friendly bunch to newcomers to the game. They just kind of reveled in destroying.
I'll tell a story.
Doug's story time.
At one point, I was streaming the game, and this was I
love guest story time.
So I think that's maybe not for long. We'll see. Guys, don't forget to review on Spotify. I was streaming the game. This is after, I think the game kind of peaked at what was the
Deathwire?
Deathwire, yeah. Deathwire was
Deathwire
the peak.
Came out, yeah.
And then it started to go downhill. And I was streaming, it was between Deathwire and Reggie, I believe. I was streaming the game. And I was enjoying to a certain extent the challenge of the whole thing. And I was like, well, this game needs monsters, so I'm going to play Monster. And I got into a lobby with two of their rewinders who they had set up a death squad. They literally beat me. They literally killed me in 1 minute and 48 seconds from it. They literally just
right.
And the rewinders, these are the people that are the bridge between new players and the community, right? Because that's what Fog Whisperers are.
Yeah, they're the Fog Whisperers, right? They're the
we're bringing people in. We're encouraging the player base. We're setting a great example. And two of their rewinders had set up a 4-man death squad. They were sitting in queue for 10 to 15 minutes and then just crushing monsters in 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes. They were just putting on beat downs. And it's I didn't go back and watch the VOD from the Rewinders POVs, but some of the people that I associate with did do that. And they came back and they're like, man, not only were they like doing that, but they were doing that. Like they were talking shit and they were talking shit about you. They were talking shit about the game. And then they stayed watching. Like, this is what they're doing. They're sitting in 10 to 15 minute queues. And then they're just absolutely dumpstering monsters and talking shit about them. Right. And that's like, again, it's not the only issue, but that just to me, like, is a very good example, shining example of where there's like a disconnect with VHS and like the way that they set things up and the way that I feel like they were probably pretty disconnected with their partner program, and the way they handled some of the issues with the Rewinders tells me they were a little disconnected from the program.
Yeah,
right?
we discussed that in a little bit of detail a few seasons ago, right? About
it's like
terrible handling of that.
Yeah. Right. So it's like that's not like I am a professional content creator, influencer in the horror asym genre. I'm not terrible at the game. I have hundreds of hours in VHS, and I feel like I just got embarrassed. Mm-hmm. Like I had no fun. I had just got crushed. And so it's like, again, it's not their fault that they're good at the game, but like if you're setting, like, I don't know. It just, to me, it's like, if I was running VHS's partner program and I was informed, maybe they didn't know, but I was informed that this is what our Rewinders were doing, I would probably like, hey guys, maybe let's not scare off people that are interested in playing our game.
Right.
You know, maybe try some challenges, maybe try some perkless challenges or try some solo queue challenges. Maybe try and do some things, you know, that's going to keep the game.
Well, this is the thing. You want them to be like keeping an eye on their community anyway. Like, for example, you'd want them to know who the #1 VHS player was in the category whenever they streamed it. Right. You'd expect them to know that kind of thing, Doug. I don't think they did, though.
I don't think
well, it's,
you know, because it's good to keep an eye on your community and make sure it's healthy and thriving. And
yeah, and like I said, there wasn't exactly that many people to keep track of. That's part that really annoys me. It's not like there's thousands. It's not like it's fucking Call of Duty Warzone. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of streamers. Well, I'm a Warzone streamer too. You know, there was only a handful. Anytime I looked at the VHS category on Twitch, I'd be like, it's like the same, 10 to 15 people, right? There's not that many to keep track of, and you don't need to have a special social media like influencer manager person to keep track of them. You just have a notepad up. Have a sticky note attached to your monitor.
Have an Excel spreadsheet where you just check in occasionally and go, yep, that's all fine.
Yeah. There's no excuse in my mind for not knowing who Doug is. But of course, we're biased, right, Gary?
Yes, we're quite biased.
We're quite biased.
We're like our #1 guest. But yeah, like I'll agree. Like I don't think they had the most wholesome and sweet community. Which I think only pushed more players away, which only hurt the game further and further. Like those rewinders you're mentioning, Doug, they made people stop playing.
Yeah,
they
without
are
question.
Just as guilty as the bad marketing from Hellbent that killed the game.
Well, yeah, I have a hard time though, because like the people that were playing, like we've talked about this concept. The people who play VHS fucking play VHS. That's like what they do. They're willing to sit in the long queues. That's what they're doing. Like they kind of like. They went hard on the competitive side. It is a very balanced game. Was a very balanced game. But like that was the game they created. Was that game that was never going to take off without console or without something to inject a lot of casual.
Which like I appreciate that it was like a very well balanced, well designed asymmetric kind of game. Yeah. But I still just cannot fathom who they were marketing it as. Like the aesthetic style says children, the free to play style says you want to like, younger audience as well. But then the game's balance and design indicates competitive.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is not casual. It's really weird. I don't get it. But, doesn't matter anymore, does it?
Yeah, it doesn't. That's the thing that I keep taking away from this. Is like, well, I guess it's over, and now all this bullshit doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
It's like that.
It's fun to learn from it though. Like, there's lessons to be learned.
I honestly feel
other asymmetrical horror developers in the future don't do what VHS and Hellbent did.
Yeah.
I honestly feel like somebody else could acquire the game and relaunch it.
They could last year it.
Like, yeah, because last year, it's not doing great. last time I checked it wasn't. I'm gonna look real quick. It's not doing great. Because here's the problem: is that it did great for like a month. Yeah, it's got 130 people playing right now. So okay, but it did okay.
Those are a third of prop night numbers.
There was an excited influx of players, but then they haven't really done anything since. Like they haven't released any new content. Right. They haven't really done anything. to encourage people to stick around. People just were like, okay, this is something to do until,
Right.
you know, the next thing. But I do honestly think that, I don't know, VHS is legitimately a fun game, and it's a good game, and it's a polished game. It has a fiercely loyal player base that to this day keeps the game going somehow, you know, despite all the fumbles. Like, I do honestly think somebody could grab it and relaunch it and be okay. Like, I don't want to sound like that guy, but I just feel like I could have done a better job. Like, I literally feel like I could have done a better job
I know
getting
exactly
people
how,
to play the game and wanting to know about the game.
I know how you could. I know how you could buy that license and you could fix that game very quickly. I would do it. You call it the fast forward, which works with the VHS tape, right? And just age all the characters up, make the monsters a bit grittier, make the environments a bit darker, make it a bit more of a serious kind of vibe. Fix the UI, because the UI was despicable, like the worst. The UI in the game, the HUD was great. The HUD on the main menu is one of the worst things I've ever seen in a video game. But you fix all those things, I think the game would do well. Genuinely, I think you just add 10 years to the characters and all the monsters and make the game grittier. Get it on console.
Yeah, get it on console. I think that's the big thing. Yeah. But also, there needs to be some kind of plan. It seems like they never had any kind of set plan. And we're seeing that same thing with last year right now, right? Where they were just like, last year's back. And then we're just all in that kind of limbo of just like, okay, so it's back.
Now what?
What's the plan, right? Because there's no plan. There's no content rollout. There's no roadmap. There's no... It seems like they just kind of brought the game back and they were just like, all right, have fun. We'll figure out what to do later. And it's like, well, that's not good enough anymore because, you know, with every new ASIM that comes out, another one seems to pass away suddenly, right? And they're all always hyped up as like, is this the DBD killer? So everybody's looking at it through the lens of like, how long is this going to last?
Yeah, this is the thing that they are all competing ultimately with DBD. You have to have something that keeps people wanting to keep invested in your game, and roadmaps and stuff are that. Like Prop Night continues to do fine because it updates. It's got a plan of action. You know what's kind of going on with it.
I think calling it a plan of action might be a little generous.
They're doing stuff. They're actively on the game.
Yeah, like Prop Night doesn't come out and be like, here's our roadmap month by month for the next few months like you would want. But they make up for it by just being like, and there's a new killer.
Everyone's faster.
Yeah, everyone's fast. The game's like twice as fast now.
Yeah, because
here's a new character.
You need to have something polished to come out. Like, you know, Texas Chainsaw is going to make a big splash because it's coming out as this polished product.
Right.
And they're already telling us they've got plans. You know, we know that it's not going to die. They want to add more characters. They want to add more maps.
Right.
Wes Kelton was talking about, you know, if there's enough support there, maybe it can expand into more of the franchise.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, the sky's the limit.
Yep.
But you can trust with Texas Chainsaw that they've got a plan, and I think part of that, you know, we've talked about before. I think part of that comes from their experience with Friday the 13th, and how that was cut short. And I think Gunn just in general in the past few years has been like, the next time we do this, we're gonna do it like this and this and this, and it looks like they're executing on that vision, which is really inspiring.
Yeah,
in a very stagnant genre. Yeah.
I mean, there's been plenty of lessons in the genre for what not to do.
Right.
You know.
True.
And I think Gunn was like the first major fumble in the ASIM genre, right? I mean, like and it's not their fault, I don't know, but like they came out of the gates with a very interesting concept and a very fun game, and one that had an insane license, and then almost immediately lost that license.
I think that was the mistake they made, was they didn't have full control of the license. Like they didn't have the ability. So that was the fumble on that perspective.
You know,
the game was fine, the marketing, all that stuff, but that was that lesson learned. And then there's, as you say, the other asymmetrical games, more lessons have been learned. I think they now have a very strong grasp of the Texas Chainsaw license. Like they're working.
Did you guys know that Gun Media created Friday the 13th the game as an unlicensed game called Summer Camp?
No, they should have kept it as that.
And then at like the 11th hour, acquired the literal. If you look at the game files on your PC, Friday the 13th installs as summercamp.exe. That's how like deep into Summer Camp they were before they acquired that license. And it's not that valuable to live in the past. But can you imagine if they had launched the game as Summer Camp and then they got the license for Friday the 13th, so they could add Jason to the game. But then when they lost it, they could have been like, okay, well, we still have our game though.
They could
still do other stuff with it.
Yeah. Demogorgon's not available for purchase, but
so Jason's not available anymore.
Did you see speaking of that, Attack on Titan skins are going as a small DBD caveat. So if you want the Attack on Titan cosmetics, you should buy them soon. They're going on sale. I think they're going to go 50% off.
Yeah.
In the not so distant future. So I think I already own them all, so it makes a difference to me. But I think I bought them all because I love Attack on Titan.
Right. Yeah. That's a shame. At the same time though, like they're just skins, you know, they're not characters at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we'll probably see
actually
that
I kind of like they're going. It means when you see like
it's kind of cool.
Yeah, when you see that Oni skin, like when you see it in the future, like, oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah,
the Armor Titan.
Yeah, I think it's better for them to have like all cosmetics available for anyone, no matter how new they are. Everybody has access to everything. But if you're gonna do it a certain way, like they were around for like a year, right? So that's fine.
Yeah, you bought them, you didn't want them.
Yeah, exactly. Death
I think
VHS.
I think that's everything about Ace, unless there's anything in Evil Dead's land. I know nothing's happening in Ghostbusters land, so.
No, Project Playtime did do a phase 2, but we really haven't had a chance to dive in too much. I installed it and logged in and checked it out. They did a lot. Like, we'll actually need to cover it when we talk next time we talk, because they did it. They did a lot. Project Playtime is going to be
we can play it in the week. I'd be happy to play it.
Yeah, I'm going to play it. Like I said, I reinstalled it.
I'll be happy to play it. I will play it.
Right.
Gary will play it until he dies, and then he'll just
I'll sit in that pit for 20 seconds.
Gary will play 3 matches and declare that it blows, and then spend the rest of the session explaining to us why we're wrong about how much fun we're having. That's what Gary will do.
I mean, you're referencing last year.
True.
A game which you came round to agreeing with me on.
True. That doesn't help me at all, Gary. Please.
There will at least be one UI rant too. At least one.
No. Yeah.
It's my favorite thing.
It's a given.
Imagine like a good UI.
Never mind. I'm not going to say something mean about Gary because we get this whole thing with the co-host maybe happening. I gotta take it down. I almost said something mean, man.
That's funny that you think that's going to affect the result, Doug.
I'll DM it to you. I'll DM it to you right now, Gary.
Did we want to talk about Outlast Trials at all?
Yeah,
we haven't had a chance
yet. To. Because Outlast Trials is not an asymmetrical horror game, but it plays like one a little bit. It's more of a co-op experience where you and up to 3 friends can come together and basically play multiplayer Outlast against AI opponents. And you've got tasks that you can do. You've got to survive. You've got to escape. You've got to do whatever you need to do in different scenarios, and it's been fun. Are you guys okay? What's happening over here?
Don't send me the insult.
Send him a DM. I gotta tell him. He needs to know about the things.
Yeah, you can say it. It's funny.
No, I'm not gonna say it. We're talking. Can we let John do Outlast Trials? We just ruined his
segment.
We ruined John's segment.
No, it's okay. I was about to wrap it up because there's not that much to talk about when it comes to the concept behind Outlast Trials, but there's basically you load up with 3 of your friends and you can run different scenarios and you get a grade at the end of each scenario based on how well you did. And they're traditional letter grades, D through A+, I think is the highest you can get. I'm not sure.
Yes,
there's no S. Okay. And the scenarios are in different locations with sometimes different villains, different enemies, different objectives. And there's quite a lot of variety to it. And they released with 3 different basic scenarios and then 1 special scenario, Program X.
And actually, they've updated another one. There's a new one. They've just added Omega,
event,
Project
right?
Omega.
Project Omega, yeah.
Which is me, Doug, Sinno, and Sinno's editor who had a go at it yesterday. Oh, it's tough.
It's tough?
Yeah.
Oh, they're really hard, but they're really fun.
Yeah, we played for hours, and eventually we finally beat it once, and everybody got a D except Gary got a C. Was it C+? C minus?
B minus.
Oh, you got a B minus. Okay.
Yep.
So you guys know what Gary was just hiding in the corner resin people. So
hiding in a corner. I couldn't. I was running around resing everyone.
yeah.
Oh, it was the one we succeeded on was probably our worst run as well. We died so much.
I don't know how we did it. I don't know. At one point, it was so hard. It was so frustrating. At one point, I almost raided Sinnoh and just ended my stream. I was like, I died like 7 times in a row. And
I could tell you were getting frustrated.
And
I walked up to you, Doug, and I went, "Hi, Doug," and you went, "Hi, Gary." I was like, "Okay, just getting real fed up." I could just tell.
But the thing is, like, when we did it, it was so rewarding, and I would do it again. Like, I don't want to give it a bad. This is not a bad review. Like, and this is good for the game. Having something this challenging in the game is going to keep horror nerds playing the game, right?
Exactly.
I loved it.
It's going to keep the game alive.
If I was going to give it a compliment, like if anyone has, who maybe our audience of more into the asymmetrical horror world, the game I would actually compare it with is Texas Chainsaw Massacre in terms of playing victim. Playing victim and sneaking around the basement and avoiding Bubba and stuff. Like Outlast Trials has a very similar vibe to that, except like it's AI that are hunting you down. And I know there's both of them have a really good atmosphere. I really like Outlast Trials. It's quickly become one of my favorite games.
Like, I will say, so I played through the 3 basic scenarios solo first before I did any co-op, and I was like, yeah, it's fun. I like it. It's something different. But I severely underestimated how fun that game is co-op.
Yeah.
Because once I played it co-op, I was just like, it's probably gonna be similar, right? But then, like, once I got through a couple scenarios, I was like, damn, this is like really fun because there's so much interaction that you can have with other players. And I never thought of Outlast being a good vehicle for that. But I mean, like I said, Gary, you've got revives with the syringes. You've got like you can kick enemies off of your fellow players when they get pinned down by
throwing bricks from across the room to save them.
Throwing bricks, throwing bottles, throwing the stun device. And sometimes you could just troll the enemies really well in that game. You could just kind of loop them around the same thing over and over again while your friends do all the objectives or whatever. Or
sometimes when the game's really quiet for you in co-op mode, and you just kind of walk around, you're like, it's actually been really quiet for me, and you just look over to the other 3 people, and you're like, oh, they're down. Oh, they're having a bad time. That's why I'm having a really nice, relaxing one.
Right?
they've got all the hassle. What's really difficult in the Omega mode as well, which was you can't run off on your own. You have to be in close proximity to a teammate, or else you start taking damage.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, it's like an additional like variation that they added to the challenge.
It's a lot tougher than I thought it was going to be.
How close do you have to be to them? Like,
it's pretty close. It's pretty close. Like,
really?
It can be rough, man. It doesn't do a lot of damage, but it does enough damage.
Well, because the enemies do so much damage to you, you're usually running around on 1 bar anyway.
Exactly.
So a little bit of damage, you haven't got that long you can run around on your own before you're going down.
Right.
Yeah.
When you're trying to res each other, there was a few times where I was just taking damage, like, I need to get to Doug quickly. He's gonna die.
Yeah. Okay, calm down, Mr. B+. Calm down, all right? You did a good job.
B-.
B-.
That's funny.
I just tried to give you it was fun, though. I definitely would do it again. So.
I'm still like pretty early on in the grind.
Oh,
so
same.
I just did the basic ones mostly, but then I did kill the snitch on the 3 circle difficulty, and I was like, yeah, we'll see what this is like. And it's actually a pretty steep increase over the previous one. I was surprised, and I was like, there's one after this? There's a 6 circle difficulty?
It gets really hard.
Yeah, we did. That's the one we did on Omega. It was the snitch.
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, because I did the 3 circle difficulty, and like it was fine, but I think it took us like 40 minutes to get through. Like it took quite a while, because there was just so many times when we like start moving the snitch, and then like, oh my god, there's 3 enemies, run away, run back, run away, run back.
And that final room bit can be really tough.
Yeah.
That's where we kept dying.
Yeah.
It's tough. We got to the point where we were like surgeons. So we did it fast because we had just done it so many times that like we tried so many times because we kept failing at the final room. And then we got to the point where our last run was not done fast. That was a disaster. That doesn't count. I was saying before that though, we were we were like speed running to the final encounter and then losing there. Like we were in sync and we were working. The last one, we might have been coping, but we were literally being like, is this like bugged? Is it doing too many NPCs?
No, there was so many enemies there that I was like, I don't think I've ever seen that many.
Yeah.
There was like 4 just basic guys walking around, and there was the
Oh my
tall guy as
God.
well.
Yeah.
And then eventually Coil came out, and it was like,
Yeah, it might
how
have
was
been
there
ba-
this many?
might
I
have
feel like it
been
was
bad
bugged.
RNG,
I've
but-
never seen that many, because then there was the gas man
Yeah.
coming out of doors occasionally.
Oh, I
Then
hate
you had
the
the
gas, man.
Then you had the fake versions. I was like, there was so much stuff walking around. I've never seen that much.
Yeah.
Right.
It was great.
Yeah,
What's-
10 out of 10 would play again. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's y'all's rig of choice between the 4?
I take the stun.
No,
Yeah,
the
me
stun as
too.
well.
Okay,
We're all
okay, cool.
Stun
I
mains.
was like, I started with the stun, and I was just like, I just don't see any reason to switch.
Yeah, the mine's meant to be quite good, but I haven't tried it because I'm just like,
yeah,
the stun's good.
The mines are pretty
The
good.
mine-
So Hop-
oh, okay,
Hop
I can
uses,
see
Hop
that.
uses mines, and Sinnoh uses the heal.
I
Tally
can see
uses the
that.
heal.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like
I like the stun though. Get you out of a jam.
Yeah.
And if you upgrade it, you can get that one where it like replenishes everybody's battery and
Yeah,
shit.
that's-
yeah,
that's
Gary.
fantastic.
Gary was resetting us all. Yeah, that was Gary.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you guys ever want to play some Outlast Trials, I am always down. I love that game.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
I'm really coming around on it. Like I've always liked it. But yeah, just like after I played it co-op and I played the 3-circle difficulty, I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I get it now." You know,
Yeah, I
like,
think it's okay solo, but I think it's really good with like even
It is.
randoms, even solo queue randoms.
it's
Because
oh
the
yeah.
ping system's great.
The ping system. I was surprised at the how many options that you had for dialogue. It'd be like, "Thanks, yeah, on my
Yeah.
way," you know, all that stuff, and it works perfectly. The voice that they have
Yeah.
for the characters works perfectly for the world. It's really
Yeah,
cool.
like I've never had an issue playing without comms with randoms. It's
Yeah.
always been fine. And the people who play that game play properly. They're not fucking around and losing. They're not throwing matches. Occasionally you get an idiot, but like generally people are like playing to win. It's great.
I'm right here, Gary. I'm right
Not
here.
you, Doug. You play fantastic.
Yeah.
You boosted my score by going down so many times.
You're
You know,
welcome.
some of the moments I've had playing that game kind of remind me of like the more chaotic moments of DBD,
Mm.
where like you're trying to distract an enemy, but you end up sandbagging your teammate or something like that, or like you take the enemy right to a room that has the entire team in it, and you just weren't thinking about
Well,
it.
that happened like multiple times yesterday. When
Yeah.
there was one point where I healed Doug up, and then Sinnoh comes running around the corner, and like Doug's just gotten up,
Right,
and then he's like coming in hot, and it's just like he's being chased by 2 people. We've all got to run again.
right, yeah. Or like, have y'all done that thing where you stun lock an enemy over and over and over again?
Oh, well, you bully him at the
Stun
end.
rig,
Yeah.
bottle, brick, another stun, rig recharger, stun again.
Boosting my score. Boosting my
Yeah,
score.
boosting my
Boosting
score,
my
exactly. I'm getting an A+ for sure this time. Yeah.
A+ runs.
Oh no, I love that game. It's so good.
Same. I hope it kind of shepherds in another like subgenre of the.
Me too.
I mean,
I'd love to see more games like
obviously-
that.
Obviously, horror
Well,
multiplayer.
actually-
horror multiplayer is popular with the Phasmos and the Demonologists and
Well,
stuff
well, on
coming
that-
out. But like,
On that note, DBD, behavior. There's one big game being made by Supermassive. There's another one by Midwinter Entertainment, which is meant to be. Isn't that like a 4-player co-op
Oh,
game?
yeah.
That could be in the realm of Outlast Trials.
That would be
Yeah.
really cool. I
So-
really hope that this is kind of a new genre. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
Yeah.
I'd love to
But-
play more games like it.
fingers crossed.
I thought- I thought it was an ASIM when it first came out. So I was excited to try it, and I found out once I started playing it wasn't. But then I was, like you said, Gary, pleasantly surprised by it.
Yeah, like it.
I haven't
It doesn't
stopped
really
playing.
have. Like I think on the surface, it kind of seems like it would be an ASIM, right? Like it's got that 4v1 kind of atmosphere, but it's not a 4v1 really. It's more like a 4v17.
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
the time.
4V Omega.
4v. Yeah, but it has some really unique, interesting gameplay. They killed it, Red Barrels.
Yeah, they did a
Proud
great
of them.
job.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, play Outlast Trials, and you can thank us later. Also, don't forget to rate us on Spotify.
Yes, if you want Doug to have an opportunity to be a co-host,
Mm-hmm.
could live his dream.
I love the word opportunity.
He could live your dream as well. Yeah.
Doug lives
that's-
for the opportunity.
That's all
True.
we're promising is an opportunity.
But we will review his application if we get to that point.
In earnest.
Yeah. Live.
I am going to nail that application. So please, the Spotify reviews ASAP. I would love to have that. The sooner the better.
John, we'll have a co-host meeting and prepare an application because we might send it out to others.
True.
Wait, whoa.
We might open up applications.
Hold on. Wait. Can we?
I hear Starva might be interested, so.
Oh, you should definitely get him instead of me, dude. He knows stuff. Like, if he's an option, dude, take him. Yeah, for sure. That's ridiculous.
Well, another amazing season of Spine Chill.
Yeah, maybe our best.
Possibly
our
best. Maybe.
That's what I was going to say. I think it might be our best.
I was thinking it.
Thank you all for tuning in, especially our fans in Romania. Hugs and kisses.
Hugs and kisses.
Hugs and kisses. This has been season 31 of Spine
I could
Chill.
sense Doug's pain.
Just a real quick note. For anyone that doesn't know, my wife is 8 months pregnant. So if there's ever a point where episodes get kind of slow in the next couple months, that's probably why. In fact, they've already gotten a little slow. And part of that's my fault. But she could literally have birth any second. So
exciting.
Just throw that out there. Yeah.
Why are we whispering about it?
Because she might hear.
Okay.
I don't know if she knows she could give birth any second.
Okay. Well, you should probably let her know because there's stuff that happens that she needs to know about.
But it's more fun to keep it a secret.
Hey, we do take fun seriously on this podcast.
We do take fun very seriously.
We do take fun seriously.
True.
Foon is what we
what
take
about my
seriously.
Foon?
I missed the Foon episode. That was Pete.
That was episode 23, I believe.
That was
the
Pete.
Foon
That
episode.
was just a broken group of dudes just needing something to talk about. That was really
something
fun.
that's not DBD.
Yeah.
It'll come back. It'll happen again.
We'll get another one like that.
Maybe even next season.
Maybe.
We'll see. Yeah,
because what's DVD going to do?
What are we going to talk about next season?
Project
VHS can't die
Playtime.
again. Project Playtime. That's true. We've got it
Talk
covered.
about Project Playtime.
We can talk about Project Playtime.
Yeah, how exciting.
Gary's very excited.
Won't need to talk about food on that one. All right.
Thank you so much for tuning in. On behalf of me, Gary the Hot Cross, and Doug Running Man, we'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.